Mute your mic.
It's muted. All right, Leslie and William, can you guys hear us now? That's what's causing the noise.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to go through these mics.
It's got a delay though. All right, I'll try again. Les and William, can you hear us? Okay, Les says yes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, don't forget there's going to be a delay.
Yeah, there will be a slight pause or delay. But if you guys want to speak or something, if you'll just signal, or I'll try to let Ferris know. Or if I'm talking, you can ask me a question. Hey, if you want to wait a few minutes, give Twan a little bit more time.
Maybe
Is that computer under there muted?
Oh, is it the computer right there?
Oh, we want to make sure that speaker's off too.
Becca said she tried them all out.
I'm just legally saying.
It just last fiscal year. So it's the London monster.
You want to try to call someone real quick? She's the only one to go.
Do you think it'll be very long?
For her?
To get cooked?
Did you talk to the woman?
I'll send her number down. They need to go to the flow.
Yeah, we're full.
Okay.
Make sure she's.
You want to check with him and see if she's on the phone with them now?
Is there another minute or two we can wait?
Yeah, that's right. And then we get. Is there another chair down the hall?
A chair?
Yeah. Because this thing just keeps sinking.
There should be, they might look a little different, but there's two.
This thing just keeps sinking. I could get one. But...
Here, just try with me.
There might be one in that closet.
I'm just like slowly sinking as I sat there.
There was a chair.
Taller than me.
That's better.
Yeah, maybe I'll just get started.
That's why I'm going to do that. Keep working with Dwayne. That's all. If she joins, we just come up her hands.
Yeah. Be good.
Okay. Just tell us to go in as quick as you can.
Got one. Mr. Executive Director, would you please give the prior notice of meeting with Secretary of State?
We have given sufficient prior notice with the Secretary of State's open meetings laws on the website, on the Secretary of State site, and through our air, and on our website.
Madam Vice Chairman, would you please call the roll?
Les Barnett.
Les,
What the hearing is?
He's on mute.
you're on mute, Les. Les, you're on mute. All right, roll call. BB called your name. Les, can you hear us? Here, just, you'll have to hit up at the top of your thing, unmute your microphone. He's here.
Tawana Adetunji.
We're still looking.
Pete Conroy.
Here.
Logan Glass.
Present.
Phoebe Williams here. Ferris Stevens.
Here.
William Green Jr.
Here.
Okay. We have a quorum, so I'll call this meeting to order. The first order of business is to welcome Logan Glass to the Alabama Education Intelligence. Governor appointed him last week, and so from 4th District, Congressional District, I'm very glad to have you, Logan.
Thank you all for having me. I'm excited. Mr. Chairman, might I add, this man has been interviewed by Judy Woodruff.
Already?
No, that was a year ago.
I have, yeah.
Last meeting, we discussed our money problems, and we have approximately $2.8 million less from the federal government. As we all know, that the Corporation for Public Broadcasting was defunded, and the dues to PBS were $6.2 million. And so we and other stations have this problem, and so PBS reduced their dues slightly from 2.6 million to 2.1 million. So, and we had to let go 11 employees. Some have been here a long time, and so so the discussion on the table is, well, the last meeting is that we raised various scenarios, and we asked our executive director to give us information about those scenarios. And so, you know, we talked last week, everything was on the table. We have to talk about it. And so one solution, if you want to call it a solution, one option was is to not pay the subscription dues, and otherwise wean ourselves away from PBS. The second option is more of like seeking a menu from PBS, like an a la carte kind of a menu, to have the flexibility to have programming that we would want that's suitable for adults and children, and for include more of what we want to do in Alabama with the Alabama Educational Television Commission. And so we do have our membership with PBS, of course, but we were looking for options about doing that. PBS at one time did have our, or the third option was to basically to do nothing and hope that we can raise the money, and if we do not, we have to lay off more employees. And so ask our executive director to give us updates on those three options, and so that's what we're here to do today. So so I'll turn this over to Executive Director Wayne Reed to explain what you have gathered for us.
What I've got back for us, okay. So I'm going to share, everybody should be able to see, you can follow along on the screens. Les and William, if you guys have a question as I'm going on, if you would just kind of holler, because I can't see you on this screen, I have to look at the other screen. So, well, first I want to welcome Commissioner Glass as well. I do want to say, I think it was really awesome that the governor's office got somebody so young. He's 24 years old, probably the youngest board member of any PBS or public broadcasting station in the United States. And when I came here 2.5 years ago and the board brought me on, one of the things I talked about was changing Alabama public television to meet the needs of the future, which is multi-platform, digital first, you know, we have to look at all the different ways that we can reach people. And so if we're bringing on somebody that's 25 or 24 years old, that can bring that perspective and next generation that we need as APT supporters down the road, I think was very wise on the governor's part. So I wanted to congratulate him and thank the governor's office for bringing us some a new perspective to the board. So
Thank you, sir.
so as I get into this, I would say for the commission, if you guys have questions as I'm going along, the slides are up, and it's probably easy to try to address those as we go across if we do, as opposed to waiting until the very, very end and trying to go back and forth. There's going to be a lot of numbers that I'm going to be throwing out. So, and to my staff who helped pull all this together over the course of the last couple of weeks, if I missed something, please step up. You guys did the hard work. I just kind of put this together. So please step up and make sure I don't miss. If I'm leaving holes or things that need to be explained a little bit clearer, please let us know. So looking at the main 5 questions that came out of the last meeting were Commissioner Williams asked about what are other states doing regarding PBS and an option for a la carte programming. Is there an option for a la carte programming for this year? Is there a potential one for next year? Can we not pay our PBS contract and not violate the agreement with PBS? That was something we had the AG's office look into. But we also want to, or could we also keep PBS programming, but drop certain programmings like NewsHour or Washington Week or anything else that we wanted to without violating the contract? So that's the first thing I went to work on while everybody else was gathering all the other information as to what would happen if all these things were to take place. So I'm part of a board called the OSB board, which is the Organization of State Board Executives for Public Broadcasting. Those are state networks around the entire country. And I went to all of my cohorts at the state level, executive level, and said, this summer after the PBS meeting, there were a lot of us, and after the decision bill hit, all of us were looking at the same thing. We need to look at a la carte. It was a big push for a la carte programming for a lot of stations. So that was one of the things that I brought up, and so they wanted to see where everybody was at. Since that big push this summer, the PBS has really come out and really explained why that's not a really good option. Programming would decline, the amount of new programming would decline, and it's tough to be able to program if you don't know how many stations are actually going to be purchasing it. So PBS was they're very headstrong. They're saying we're going to stay with the way we have it. So I asked these stations, what are you going to do? So I asked if there was any planned status if they're changed between now and the end of this coming year, which is end of June. All stations said there was no change. And we are slightly different, and Commissioner Stevenson and I talked about this. We funded our year's CPB funds went for the current year that we were paying PBS. Most other stations would bank that for a year and then use it the following year. So not everybody was in the same situation budget-wise as we were. Oops, sorry, go back. Is there any consideration in changing your status with PBS beginning next year? Out of the 17, one said it would depend on dues. One said yes, they were still considering it. 15 said no. And like I said, this was a swing from the summer. Are you in favor of offering a la carte? 3 said yes. 3 others said yes, but they would probably back not changing because of they know it's going to happen with their stance with PBS, and 11 said no. If there's not an a la carte option, would you consider backing out? That still came down to basically depends on what the dues are from PBS. Are you concerned about the funding from your state legislature this year? 15 said no, 2 said yes. Are you for any reason considering ending your relationship with PBS at the beginning of next year? Any reason? 14 said no, and it's still the other 2, and the third one said yes, and then 2 said depends on what the dues are going to be. PBS will have those out, by the way, to us in December.
Actually, they're meeting today to decide whether to help reduce our...
Well, they're meeting today to talk about programming a la carte.
Okay.
They will announce the dues in December. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of those stations are the questions we're having to deal with right now, they won't deal with a year from now, and they may start asking for the same considerations as we are.
Well, once they get their dues in December, yeah, they're going to be in a similar situation where they're going to have to decide what they're going to do. Yeah,
Their year is funded, and we're and ours is ahead of time.
Right. So I just kind of, sorry, but I kind of walked through these pretty quick, but, well, I'll go back to this. So a la carte option is not an option this year. For next year, PBS is holding a meeting today with general managers to address that topic and really kind of cover why they can't do a la carte. The news due calculation will come out, will be available in December. But everything that I've heard from our PBS rep is there is no plan to change and make an a la carte option. As far as the PBS contract, we got a ruling back from the Attorney General's, or their statement was they didn't see any way we could get out of our PBS contract, which goes through the end of June, without the 180 days notice. So that, depending on when we gave that 180 days, it basically locks us in right now through April, May of next year. We also have a DHR contract, which was with the Department of Labor. I guess that's DHR, through September 30th. There's a typo there, and I missed that. Through September 30th next year, we use all the content that we use of 62 modules that we use for training pre-K, and that all has PBS programming, characters, basically their information that we use to train these trainers. So it would mean we would have to come up, this is the only program, this is the only thing we have approved right now from the state. So for us to replace, we would have to replace all of that simultaneously running with what we've got right now to be able to then turn around and have something new to keep the training, because it's ongoing online training and in-person training. The next question, could we keep PBS but drop programming like NewsHour and Washington? And this is an option. I've talked to PBS. It would not result in any change in our dues. We would just not air the programming, and we would be taking out of the common carriage for those. PBS has recently announced that they're going to end NewsHour weekend. So when that goes off, that is not us, that is PBS. They're going to be taking that off in January, and they're going to create 2 new shows to replace the weekend news hour. And that just goes to, I think part of that goes to show what PBS is going through the same internal structure of changing funding and stuff right now too. And so they're looking at how they can function and do things to be able to pay for programming. So now I'll kind of get into the what ifs and what mores and stuff of what this means. So just to look at everything that PBS provides to us right now. And so PBS is it's a strange beast. I came for 33 years in commercial broadcast. Everything's for profit. You know how that works. When I came over here, it's a totally different animal. It's a public, private, and government. Everybody's contributing all for the common good to make everything. And there's over 260 television stations in the United States that are part of PBS. And there's stations that could not operate if it was not for PBS, because they couldn't afford programming to put on. They couldn't afford to do any of these things. So it is truly a partnership between private and public. That's why when you guys see we do the fund drives, it's so important we say we need your support, because a lot of these small communities in Alaska and Texas and New Mexico wouldn't be able to support themselves without what PBS is giving them for what they pay for their license. It's all based on population and how many people actually watch, and how many people give. But these are all the services. So PBS Learning Media, which is what we use for DHR contract, that's covered by PBS. That would go away. Our website, while we own the website and domain and we own a base of it, all the stuff that feeds live streams, the media library, the cloud storage, streaming cost of on-demand video, Grace Note, which puts out all of our the listings that you see out into the system, all of those are done through PBS and through our partnership. So we get all of those services they're included into our fees of what we pay PBS. Everything that we do localized. So our tablet, our mobile, our smart stick, Fire, Roku, all that stuff is all run through PBS as well. So all those apps, we take PBS's content, we localize it to Alabama, so that when you're in our we're in the state, it comes as Alabama Public Television. That's all run by PBS. Passport. Passport is all run by PBS, everything that's there, but it allows us to monetize that content for donations. So everybody that's a sustaining member pays at least $5 a month, is a sustaining member. All that money comes to us. It doesn't go to PBS. It comes to APT. APT YouTube channel, we're part of a multi-network channel affiliation, so it puts all the PBS stations within the entire country into one the YouTube channel, which allows us to have our contract integrated with every station around the country so people can come in and watch. And we monetize that. We're actually making money off of YouTube paying us now for putting our content out there. And it's something we're really focusing on driving home. And I know, Heather, you want to...
Do you want a correction?
Yeah, correct me.
So everyone maintains their own YouTube channel, but the multi-channel network affiliation tells the YouTube algorithm that this is a trusted PBS source, and so the system as a whole can benefit from being recognized together. So that even if you're a small station with very few followers, you benefit from the PBS system as a whole.
See, this is why I have her.
We would lose that.
Yeah.
And we would lose that.
So it is our channel. So when you hear all these stories about people making millions of dollars, influencers making millions of dollars off of YouTube and stuff like that, that's what we're trying to get. We're trying to have our content out there that enough people watch it that you do, so you're worth having. We want to pay you for this. So having that interconnection of people that might be in Wisconsin watching something and then seeing something that they think maybe the algorithm thinks they might be interested in Alabama, putting it in front of them is what we get out of that. The music licensing fees, and this was something I'll tell the board, there was a change in the bottom line number because we were waiting for an estimate to come back from these guys. We estimated $300,000 at the end of last week because I said we have to have a number to put in here. We got the number back today. It's over $900,000 for our music licensing. And I'll go into that a little bit further, but that's covered by PBS with our dues. Programming and social media post, and then our educational post, PBS puts out, they have a team that puts out for all the different programs that are going to come out, for Masterpiece or whatever it is. All of our stuff comes in pre-prepared. All we have to do is localize it and get it out into our social media streams. So if we lost all that, that means we basically have to hire somebody to come in and create all that for us to re-put that back out. Based on whatever we would do locally. Our membership newsletter programming, a ton of that stuff is already pre-produced. We take that content that we get from PBS, and we get this from our other producers as well. So there would be some of that, but it would still add to more workload of stuff, and probably part of what that social media post person would do. Our main channel programming. So we have our main channel. We have the PBS Kids. We have PBS. Not PBS Prime. Yeah, we have main channel, PBS Kids, Prime, and Ken's specials like Ken Burns. Hopefully you guys are watching American Revolutionary. I have not got to watch it yet. But those are on our main channel. And then our sub-channels, we have 3 other sub-channels that people watch. And we don't have ratings on those, but we know people watch because when something goes up, we don't run the right thing or something goes off, we know they call. But PBS Kids, which is 24/7 kids programming, Create, and World, are all covered by our dues with PBS. We don't have to pay them for that because it's covered within our dues. And then one of the last things, and this is, so I'm going to get kind of technical here, so I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible, but because of our contract with PBS, for a long time, APT was not carried on Hulu or YouTube TV would they have live channels. I think we discovered that the first year you guys did high school football because people complained because we couldn't watch it on YouTube TV. And part of that is because every station has to negotiate a deal with them. So the big commercial like Sinclair and Nexstar and Gray and those guys, they have a whole bunch of markets. They go negotiate a whole deal with YouTube and Hulu to get their stations all carried. And they usually they pay for that. Well, we're free. But it's a lot of work for YouTube to have to do that, and it's really, there's no commercial value. I mean, there's no financial incentive for them to do that. We don't give them any sort of advertising on there, which is how they do a lot of the stuff that they do, is they barter that program. So there's no financial incentive for them to take the trouble to go out and program every single station in the entire country. The PBS worked for years to try to get that done, and they did in 2023, in summer 2023, and we're able to cut a whole deal for the entire United States with Hulu and YouTube and DirecTV, all those, so that those streamings were included, and they were all localized to their individual markets. Right now, it represents 48% of the way people get TV now. And imagine a lot of you guys do streaming stuff, but people don't use just cable anymore. Cable's at one of the lowest levels. Broadcast with ears has actually gone up, which whoever thought that would happen, but more people are getting stuff off air. But that is the biggest way people are getting their streaming now. If that went away, APT would no longer be available on those services through the state of Alabama, which would mean half the state would not get us. PBS would fill that with their national program. So PBS would be available, it just would not be APT, it would be all the regular, the PBS programming that's filled from national. And that would hurt us in a couple of different ways, because first off, that money just leaves and goes straight to them. But if you look at it, it's 1 million potential households that we'd lose. We use those ratings are how we get underwriting, how we get our high school sports revenue. There's a lot of things that would affect. If we had that's just half of the audience just going away, if that were to happen. Looking at replacement costs for all these. Any questions, by the way, so far? We good? Looking at replacement cost, the board actually sent me some ideas. Mike and I started working with the programming service, with NETA, with the American Public Television, all these people we work with now for programming, looking at what the thing was. Commissioners threw out some suggestions like NASA TV, independent producer services, Wonderum, Nat Geo. I mean, at this point, we can look at it, and we could look at all the different options of what we can try to do. So we didn't say we're not going to consider anything, but looking at different options that we have. But to try to get some sort of, for this meeting, what's a price tag that we can try to put, how much would it cost to replace all this programming? We got an estimate from American Public Television, and American Public Television runs a lot of has a lot of syndicated programming that is similar to PBS. They run a lot of what they call complementary programming to PBS, primetime stuff. So if we were going to create a primetime lineup, that's probably the closest thing we could get. So we went and said, what would you be able to put together for us? And we said we'd need a year's worth. They came back to us and said we could program 4 nights a week. Here's what we would look at doing, and here's approximately how much this would cost. So with this, they have a movie package of 96 movies that we could get, so we could run a brand new movie every 1 night a week. On night 2, we could run Midsummer Murders, My Life is Murder, Hope Street. This is some of these British, like masterpiece type stuff. A lot of these are old masterpiece stuff. Keeping Faith. Then there's another night 3 of British dramas, so Madame LeBlanc, Turning Washington Spies, Chelsea Detective. Those would be another year's worth of stuff we could do. And then a night 4 would be documentaries, whether it's biographies, celebrity travel, world history, science. So it'd be a variety of different stuff that we could program and have fresh content for an entire. So that would be 4 nights a year, and the price tag on that was $375,000. I jumped way ahead. So that's 3 hours a night out of 24. That's 3 hours a day out of 24 hours. We have to run 24 hours. Since we don't have to, we can turn off overnight, but most people expect us to run 24 hours. We already run the tower, so we take this firm quote, and what I did was kind of work with Mike, and we just kind of said, right now, if we just take the prime part of it, and we said, how much is that an hour? If we take that and break it down into the years worth of programming for it, it's about $860 an hour for prime programming. And so if we said, well, we've already talked about the way we could fill some of this, and some that the legislature is excited about is, we said, well, we can expand we could expand our sports coverage. We're already doing football and basketball. What if we added cheer? What if we added volleyball? What if we added soccer? We added softball and baseball, and carried those high school championships. So it's ways we could do programming that supports our schools, and be able to add some of those programs on as another option, and at least it's local, right? So looking at that would be an additional $400,000. As if we said we could program,
These are 2.2 million this year.
Yeah, 2.2 million. Additionally, covered in our PBS fees are the music licensing fees. So all these shows and everything all have music licensing. We have to be covered for all that. It's charged by the transmitter. So that's we were figuring $30,000 per transmitter when we calculated that on Friday. We got the cost back from ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, and it's $97,312 per year per transmitter.
Per FCC.
Per FCC license, which we will have in December. We'll put up the tower in Winfield to go live, and we'll have 10 transmitters, or 10 licenses. So you take that, that's $973,000 just in music licensing fees. And the reason, and that seems super high, but it's because at that point, we're going to them as Alabama Public Television. We're one network. PBS negotiates on the rights. Well, it's actually PBS and NPR, because it was done through CPB. The contract that they have currently running, which goes for a couple more years, was negotiated by CPB, and it's for every public radio station and every public television station in the entire country. So you're talking thousands and thousands of stations that they're negotiating rights for with them at the same time. And so that's why they're able to negotiate the rates that they're able to do. If every station, and this was one of the big things that everybody was panicking about, was, well, if we ought to pay our licensing fees, that's almost crippling in itself. I know this is kind of hard to see, but it's coming up. Digital changes just in the cost of changing some of the stuff for our digital. So I broke this out for our website. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 between live streams, video on demand, schedule, our PD portal, the new website that we'd have to build out or rebuild out, and our PBS branding, basically taking everything off of everything that we have out there, because we would have to literally pull the PBS at everything that we have. Our APT app, the learning media, to replace that, music licensing, which I just kind of covered. The digital staff, we figure we're going to need 3 more people in the digital department to rebuild everything back out. And then there'd be staffing of at least probably 2 or 3 people in education to try to rebuild everything for the learning media side of it, for our DHR contract. Looking at the digital, just to change the digital stuff, a one-time cost up front, which would be now till whenever we ended and were able to do it, of about $587,000, and then that was one-time cost. Then ongoing cost after that for renewals, annuals, cloud storage, all that sort of stuff that are going to keep going on and on and on. It'd be about $452,000 a year. So to some degree, that would be funding the half of that we would need before we ended our relationship with PBS. Our member services contract, that's the people that we use to help do our membership. So the newsletters that you get, the emails that you get, the reminders that you get that all of our members get, telling about everything that APT is doing, and talking about we need your donations. We're having a pledge drive, all that sort of stuff. All the ancillary, the products that we do during pledge that people give, all that is managed by. We just switched to this company this last year, and they've been doing a phenomenal job. We just switched to them. We have agreement with them through 2028. We would need a 180-day notice to get out of that contract. And if we terminate for convenience, other than if we went bankrupt, then that would be a different thing. But if we terminated it, we just don't want to do this anymore, that's about $3,300 a month we'd have to do this. I would say right now we were seeing an increase in our donations in August and September.
Wayne?
Yeah.
Just to be clear, maybe this is Melissa, but we have 2 accounts. You know, the state account and the foundation account. Mm-hmm. Where are these PBS dues? Which account do the PBS dues come from?
They come from the state, the state account.
That's important.
And all the funds that are raised by the Member Services Bureau for all the donations that we give them, they all go to the foundation fund.
And this is important in case we lost memberships, we'd still be held to that agreement.
Yeah, and this is, if for some reason, if we were to cut PBS and we lost our membership, this contract still goes on regardless of what we do. So just looking at it overall, on the changes of the stuff that we would need, I guess physically and virtually, because of all the digital and online and everything, we're looking at a one-time cost of $606,000, and then an ongoing cost of $3.5 million. That $3.5 million ongoing cost would cover the digital and services stuff that we need to do, the programming and music license fees.
And Wayne, maybe another clarification, are, the state funds, are they secure for this year?
Yes, everything's allocated from the state. It was done in the May, Jack, when the governor signed the bill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's in the budget.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuse me, yes, it is. Well, now I'm walking into this. So Pete asked this, so I'll bring it up, so I'm gonna walk through. So there are two budgets that APT operates on. One is the Education Television Commission, which is what this commission is. And then we have a foundation authority, which oversees the foundation side of it. All of the AETC funds are all state appropriated. So those are the ones that were secured in April from the legislature and the governor. Those have all been allocated out. We just, at this point, run everything through STARS, and the state pays out based on our allocations. The Education Television Foundation Authority basically does everything that we do with membership. So all the other money that we raise from membership funding, from underwriting funding of different programs and sponsorships, local grants, and then what used to be the CPB, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting grant, all goes into the AETFA budget. So what I want to address now is I'm just going to talk about the AETC budget is 100% secured, funded by the state. The rescissions had no impact on that whatsoever. No money, they can't take money away from the state. So it's done. That money is there. So where our issue right now and the shortfall is all on the foundation side. And we operate in what we call a projected budget, revenue budget. So when we put the budget, Melissa and I work with everybody, put a budget together, we project out how much money do we think we're going to bring in. And we basically say, we think we'll raise this much money from membership, this much money from underwriting, here's what we think we can do from grants, and here's what we're going to get from the CPB. And we come up with our budget. So last year, we would have put this to bed when?
Well, this was FY26.
Yeah, so it's the budget we're in right now. This is prior to the rescission. This is the budget that we had. It's a $7 million budget. Everything was in, everything's done. And then what we do is we zero balance budget. So $7 million is coming in, is what we expect. We're going to budget to spend $7 million, and we appropriate all our money that way in the foundation. When the Rescission Act came down, what it did was it took that CPB funds, which should have come to us in October, and took those away. So if you look here, everything's the same. If you take the CPB out, all of a sudden we went from a $7 million budget to a $4.2 million budget. That's where it hit. I'll hit the foundation side. So Melissa and I got together, we sat down and we said, how do we make the best out of what we've got right now? What do we need to cut? So we looked at expenses, we looked at travel, we looked at everything that we did. What is absolutely necessary, and what are things that we don't have? What are things we want but we could wait on? And basically figured out a way to cut about half of that. And unfortunately, part of that is we had to lay off people. But we got to the $1.4 million and said, we think we think we might be able to work through the rest of this year and make this $1.4 million because we've got a brand new partner that's the media membership services bureau. We're seeing an increase. We think we'll see some increase there. We can fundraise off of this, try to get people to give the money to make up that $1.4 million. And if we every month try to save, and we're watching every one of our pennies, maybe by the time we get to the end of this year, we'll have overcome this $1.4 million. And that's where we're still at that point right now. We're pinching dimes, pinching pennies every time we turn around. People ask me, can we get this, can we get that? And I say, is it absolutely necessary to keep this operation running? So that's where the foundation, it's in the foundation side. So the $1.4 million can only be made up by our sustaining vendors, our major donors, underwriting corporation, grants. Basically, somebody has to donate or give us this money for sponsorships. It's the only way we can raise this money. State cannot give us the money for us because they can't overlap those funds over. So that was the plan. Is we can try to ask that we'll ask the public, can we raise $1.4 million to cover this gap? So that's the situation we're at right now. And so what I told Ferris is I come from the business side, that's where I spent my whole career, and I always try to look at what are the all different options, and I see 3 scenarios of how we can handle this, to which the commission then can decide which direction they want to go, and then we'll have our marching orders and we'll start working to that end. But one is, if we drop PBS completely, our annual estimated membership would probably drop $2.4 to $2.7 million. And that's based off of KETC. That was a station in Los Angeles, I think the only station I know of, but the last station that said they were mad about PBS dues. They thought they were too high, so they said they were going to break off, they were going to go independent, and they lasted 18 months. And the numbers were 80 to 90% of the membership that they lost. If you take this, all that adds, so if we're 1.4, say it was 80%, that would put us at 3.8, all right? Yeah, $3.8 million that we would actually be in the red. If we drop PBS completely.
Adding to the deficit.
Yeah, adding to that, 1.4 million, add that to, that'd put us at 3.8. If we decided to, hold on, so.
Let the slides catch up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. So basically looking at, this is what I wanted to try to say. This is where we are right now. The current shortfall, if you look at the digital cost, or the one-time cost, the ongoing cost, that would be from basically once we started that, the programming cost for July through September, that we've basically already used, that we're gonna probably have to figure out something for. Membership cost, membership loss at 80%, we're talking about $6 million. And if you take that and you take the ongoing costs, we're about $3.2 million looking at deficit going into 27. The other option that was brought up was, could we just drop NewsHour and Washington Week or any other programs that we decided we didn't want to carry that were PBS? And the PBS would allow us to do that, but as I said, nobody's done that before, and we don't know what that effect that would have on our membership base. I mean, there's no data out there to support anything to say we would lose this or that or whatever.
Wayne, excuse me. So how would we go about getting a number in terms of how that would impact membership?
I mean, any number we come out, it's going to go.
It's a guess.
Yeah, yeah. And we have. And you just pull a number out of your head, until now. Honestly, we don't know how much. It could be 5%, it could be 50%. I don't know how to manage a guess of that. There's you can look at PBS. We get the PBS, what they get for NewsHour, what we get, but I mean, it's all of that is speculation. Yeah, I mean, but if you wanted to pick a number, just pick a number, and whatever that number is, we can go with. I don't say I would say I don't see how we don't lose at least a little bit.
Is that
Almost, yeah. I got two or three more slides, so that's it. Last is, if we didn't do any change at all to PBS, we launch a campaign and try to increase viewer support and try to raise the $1.4 million. In September and August, we had a 17% increase because I think of the Rescissions Act. A lot of people stepped up and gave us more money because they knew we were behind. So there's the possibility of doing it that way. As it stands right now, with the shortfall we have, and if we add to that at all, that just means more stuff that we'd have to do. But we may have a potential more employee layoffs. In our foundation right now is our education team and our content producing team. So everybody that produces local content for stuff outside of some of the Capital Journal staff, all those people are foundation employees. So it would inhibit the more money we lose and don't make up with the 1.4 would inhibit how much more content we could actually produce locally. And if you think whatever we lose membership wise would probably not come back, and our membership, we got to count on that again for next year and the next year and the next year. So whatever we end up doing and whatever that number ends up, if we were to do this, whatever that number ended up being, it's probably going to be the number for quite some time. And that's it. That's kind of the situation right now. If there's any questions that the commission has, I'll be happy to answer. If there's numbers you wanted to go back to, I can go back to numbers on the slide too.
I was going to say, I'd like to make a motion to pay our bill to PBS and honor our contract.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Tawana ever got on?
And how much is that anyway?
1.4.
1.4 million.
What's that?
The first
Hold
We
on.
have 65% that's due November 30th, right?
1.4.
Then in April, it's 25, and then
There's
there's
another one in
10%.
One in January and then one in April.
And so we have actually, our contract began in July, so we've actually used almost 5 months of that contract up. So we've already, you know, we're actually paying for what we've already used,
Right.
for the most part. So. And by the way, just, I think I'm right on this as far as the state's obligation. Just FYI, this is not, but I don't think the state can be sued because it's, has sovereign immunity, just FYI.
I'd like to second the motion.
Thank you.
I'm done.
Okay.
It's all you.
Motion, okay, any other discussion? We have to do this by roll call if there's no other discussion because we're on Zoom and that's required by statute. Okay, there being no further discussion, please, move forward.
Les Barnett.
Les?
Can you repeat the question, please? I heard a lot going on, but I'm not sure exactly what the motion is.
It's to pay the current bill up to now on November 30th.
Is it to now, or are you saying putting the whole bill?
I just said pay the bill till the 30th. At that point,
The 30th of November or the 30th of January? Of
I
June?
mean, right, whatever we have to pay on the 30th, we pay, and then I guess after that, we'll see how the money comes in.
Okay.
And PBS may change their tuition, their fees this December, so we may not have as much. I hope
Those fees won't start until October of next, those won't start till July of next year. The fees for this year are $2.2 million. Yeah, they're not gonna change at all. Yeah. The ones that I was talking about, they're looking at are for would be from July to June of next year. Yeah.
So you said there's another, I thought we didn't pay quarterly, I thought it was biannual. So the next one wouldn't be.
We pay 65% on November 30th. In April, we pay 25%, and the final one is 10%.
Like, yeah, 15% or something, to 10%, something like that.
10%, 15 and 10%.
Yeah.
So
I
I
guess
think
the
your
motion-
motion is to pay our current
Our
bill.
current bill, and with our audience, I think, I have confidence that money will come in to pay the remainder.
That's state
following
Well, the
six
state,
months.
the money's
These are
there,
state
the state funded.
Yeah.
We don't have a problem paying the bill
For the whole.
for the whole amount.
June.
No, yeah, till June. It's all funded by the state.
Then I,
So let's pay.
till June.
Okay.
Can you repeat your motion for minutes, please?
Motion to pay the bill to PBS through June. So
Did you hear that, Les?
No. Could you get
Okay.
order in the room,
Where's your-
please, Mr. Chairman? Because I'm having trouble hearing. I just, there's just not, this is not what I expected. I expected we want to have
Where's
the
her?
members and the staff being able to talk. I didn't expect this for the noise. So I just have trouble. I guess I'll pass on the motion for right now.
He's passing.
That's good. Tawana Adetunji,
We ever get one?
She did not get on.
Pete Conroy,
Yes.
Logan Glass,
I support the motion.
Williams, I do, Ferris Stevens,
Yes.
William Green Jr.
Is William there?
Yeah. William, can you hear that?
It's muted.
You're muted, William. Are you, William, can you hear us?
Or,
Okay.
Get him on the phone.
Did we lose William?
No, he's still
He
there.
says he's there, but he's muted. William, you're muted. Can you not hear? You hear? Put something in.
we have a quorum, Mr. Chairman. We have a quorum.
If he dropped off, he's still showing he's there, but I can't, you can't raise him. I'm gonna text him and just ask if he's.
Keith, can you unmute us?
Maybe I can. Okay. I just texted him and said he's still on. I don't know.
There's Tawana just jumped on and jumped off. She just got on. She sure did.
Did he drop off?
No, he's still here.
Tawana just jumped on and jumped off.
So how do you want to proceed? I'm not texting back either, so I'm not sure if he's out of pocket. Well, I don't know. He has never been on camera, so.
But he answered on welcome.
Yeah.
He did answer.
Says two not
Well,
voting.
let's give him 1 or 2 minutes to see if we can get him. If we can.
I can try to, oh, hold on. He said yes.
Hey, I'm on the meet.
Oh,
I
there you
have to
go.
wait for a second.
All right, okay, there's a motion. I'll have, BB or Fish, you guys want to repeat the motion? There's a motion on the table.
Motion to pay our bill to PBS to honor our contract that goes through June.
Could you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. You're voting yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go make a kind of a follow-up motion, if you don't mind. I think everyone has had the opportunity to see the governor's letter, and so I first of all want to thank her for this letter. But as a part of the motion, I'd like to make certain that the letter go into our record with APT. But beyond that, I'd like to request that Wayne establish a committee that would have broadcasters, legislative input, public input to really fulfill this detailed, plan that she has for us here. And so that's the motion, is to task, put this into the record and then task you to come back with a suggestion of a committee that you would vote on at the next full meeting.
Okay.
So I'm looking for a second.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I read that is that she was asking for the study in the event we wanted to wean our way away from.
No.
That's not how I read it. That could be a part of the analysis,
Okay.
and of course, we can talk to her
Which, you know, in that case, that would be very wise to have done that, I mean, at this point. So what's your motion again?
Make certain that this goes into the record, but beyond that, ask Wayne to develop a committee that would include public input, legislative input, and financial legal analysis, so we can make a deliberative decision. And but Wayne would put together a suggestion of a committee.
What would be making the deliberative decision on? What would be
The plan for our future.
Okay.
Just looking for a second.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second Commissioner Conroy's motion.
Move to second. Any discussion?
Any discussion? William O'Connor?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
is there a, I heard,
He's not talking on his microphone.
Let's make sure you're talking directly towards the screen because it's cutting out when you lean to the side.
okay,
There you go.
Okay.
That's perfect. Stay right like that.
okay. So there was some discussion on the motion, and I'm not exactly sure what the final motion is. Does it include looking into all these options? Well, first of all, is this document was someone's name mentioned when they were talking about this document?
The letter?
Which document?
Has there been, that's what I'm trying to understand. Is there,
The governor's letter. The governor's letter.
okay, got you.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about anyone's proposal or anything that anyone worked up already in the past.
No, he was referring to the governor's letter.
Great. Okay, thank you for that clarification. So the second question is, the motion as it reads, would the secretary or the recording secretary please read back the motion that's on the floor and has been seconded?
Right?
Steve Conroy made a motion that the letter from the governor be put into our record of this meeting, and that Wayne Reed establish a committee to fulfill the detailed plan from the governor to include the public, legislators, financial and legal analysis, and that he should submit a suggestion of this committee at our next meeting to plan for the future.
A plan for, is there a goal? I mean, I've been on some public boards, but mainly business. And whenever, we spend money on research, we're trying to find out an answer to a question. Or we're trying to see if there's this option available or something on those lines, and find some kind of a financial analysis of it, a marketing study or something like that. I'm trying to understand the mission of this motion. What is the mission of the motion? Is it just to do the polling, which was what was mentioned as our obligation in the governor's opinion under the law, or is it more than that, some other objective? We just trying to meet the objectives of fulfilling her view of what our legal responsibilities are. That's fine if that's what it is. Is there an objective other than that involved in this motion?
I just want to know if there's an objective. In other words, what's the committee's going to decide what? And I guess
How can we best fulfill the wishes?
I think I think that's what you're trying to say is you don't want to spend money if you don't have an ultimate goal. I think Pete's saying, let's get this committee together to figure out if we did some studies, what those studies would be to make sure that they're relevant for any money that we would end up spending on them.
Right.
So I don't think they would be doing anything until the board said, yes, okay, we can move forward.
Yeah.
I guess maybe
I
we
think it's
revise
kind
that.
of less. I think it's got to do with kind of like when you came to the board and you said, we need more STEM education. And now we're up to 50%, and it's because of you bringing that up. So when he says this, it's that PBS is going, there are good programs out there. And the more that we can put in there, the better our APT will be. Now, we have a good base. And I said this earlier, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But at the same time, if there's something out there, which I happened to come across a program that I loved, it was out of the Woodson Center by Bob Woodson. And he is teaching character. And he worked with kids that were juvenile delinquents. They were youthful offenders and had a tremendous impact on them. And that kind of program is out there. Finding it, making sure some of it's free. You can bring that in and we can add it. And so I'm saying we got something to go with in the meantime. And I was, and so was Mr. Green, very interested in honoring our contract because that's big with me. You pay your bills, you do your, you know. And so we want to maintain a good name. But I think that that would be included in that, where we could be looking, always keep our eyes open. And, you know, it may be something that goes nationwide. If PBS sees it, we can at least use stuff and developing our own stuff as well. That some of the stuff that's come out of this place is great. Thank you.
So I don't know if you need to add something to it.
So if that's what
If
you're
you
asking.
want to add something to the motion as to what they're trying to do, or I think Les is just looking at a little bit of clarity of what direction they're supposed to be going. That board, that can be.
Is that part of the motion? Maybe it's not. I'm
Okay.
just looking for clarification.
Yeah, I understand. That's right.
Come up with some action that we can take or consider taking, or is this motion simply to fulfill the requirements that the governor specified in the letter, which is fine if that's what it is. I'm just asking that question.
Yeah, both.
He said a little bit of both.
Okay, so we vote for this, then Wayne, I'm asking you this because you're the implementer, right?
Right.
So you're going to bring us some deliverables that give us different options. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 12, whatever options that we can consider.
Yeah, that's the way I would look at it. And those would be
also vote for the motion.
Yeah, that would be based on what this committee comes back with these variety of people going, here's the different things that we see that are options that we could look at, the board can consider. So yeah, that would say yes.
Charged with that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But if they're charged with that, I'm good. Good.
That's a yes.
All right. So you're a yes. Okay.
Tawana is not.
Yeah. Tawana's on.
Oh.
Tawana, I think you have to unmute, but yeah.
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Apologize for not being on earlier. I had so many technical difficulties. I would get on and get kicked out, but now I'm here. So first of all, I want to thank everyone that's in attendance there today, caring so much about and our connection with I don't know if everyone has had an opportunity to say anything. If not, but I did want to just thank our those viewers, those that are in attendance, and we appreciate you all so much. I've received a gazillion letters, many of them, as well as comments. So, but if you would be so kind, to just update me briefly. I don't want to take too much time before I know a vote is about to be done, but what particular thing are we discussing right now?
I'm thinking she should be asking what this motion is.
Yeah, but I think she wanted to know if there's anything beforehand. She wasn't.
Oh, yes. Yes, Tawana, well, we earlier voted to continue and pay the dues that were in the contract with PBS. And also we have a motion on the table right now about did you hear that about the study that Pete proposed? And there's a motion on the floor right now.
Yes.
Do you heard? Yeah, but we did. We there was a motion that passed to pay PBS through this year's contract through June of this year. So do you want me to have Lorraine reread that motion to you?
No, I understand. That's fine. Thank you.
Okay,
Or,
so your
yeah,
vote
and
is.
if you want to, Tawana, feel free to give me a call and I can update you on the previous vote if you would like.
Oh, thank you so much.
Sure.
So your vote is,
The motion on the floor is on Pete's motion.
and yeah, you're up.
And so we were if you're ready to vote or if you want to vote, the motion on the floor is Pete's motion
Yes.
to conduct a study that you probably heard. You probably heard that, right? That's about.
Yes.
Okay. So the roll call was called, and so would you be for or against or abstain?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pete Conroy,
Yes.
Logan Glass,
Yes.
Phoebe Williams, yes. Barry Stevens.
Yes.
William Green Jr.
Okay. You might be on mute still.
He said yes.
All right, motion carries.
And I apologize for one more motion, and I'll stop. But I'd like to make a motion that we set aside 30 minutes right now to hear from some of the people in this room. And, who are representative, I would guess, of the 1,400 some emails we've received and posts and texts. And like Tawana, I just thank you enough for being here, not knowing what would happen. And but in any case, thank you. But I am making that motion that we take 30 minutes to hear from individuals, maybe there's 2 minutes at piece, 3 minutes, whatever, probably 10 people, something like that.
30 minutes.
And this could be looking for us.
Mr. Chairman, I have a business motion, if we could do that before we entertain, subject.
So would that be okay?
Well, we got a motion on the floor, and we can certainly hear his interest.
We can do it after.
Yeah, sure,
Yes.
yeah, and as long as the people get a chance to speak.
Okay. All right. Is there a second?
I'll second it, and I'm going to warn you that we got all your emails. Just saying. So, this was something my son wrote up, and I'm just going to tell you, he said, your corporate campaign, you need to have like a byline. And he said, we saved APT. So when a corporation funds a particular show, at the bottom, we help save APT. And same thing with people that are in a school and the little kids do a fundraiser, or Panera Bread, and you know, or one of the companies that takes in money, 30% goes to your project. So whatever it is, we want to give them credit and give some people who made, I'm a protester like that. So when everybody showed up here, it was like a very peaceful and kind protest, a lot of smiles. So anyway, I'll second what he said, and then definitely, Les, we need to hear the business.
I can write it out.
So a motion's on the floor, 30 minutes to hear from the public, about 2 minutes apiece. Motion is seconded, all in favor? Well, we have a roll call.
It's a little discussion. How we pick people, it's going to be tricky, and there's, you know, and so, like, Mr. Chairman, you want to be the guy that makes, but I would like to recommend in particular that Michael Schneiderman say a few words, because we've been speaking with him about the fundraising plan, really, that your son is co-developing, and you may not have known it, Michael, but your ideas, there's some synergy right there.
Yeah, and I don't see Michael, but I've talked to him as well, so thank you for your input.
Great.
Les Barnett?
What's the motion?
It's on, the motion's on having comments from the public, a few limited comments.
Having
Limited comments from the public.
before the.
No, after your business motion.